You are now listening to The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Courtney on the One Podcast Network. Let's get it.
From NJ to BCAN World, is The Box Out here on the One Podcast Network. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Hi. It's hot outside. I'm dying. Just sweating all day here in the tri-state area. Joining me in just a few minutes from Brooklyn, New York, will be Jason Courtney. And we have ourselves an NBA champion who was pretty much the second biggest story of the day on Sunday. We'll get to that story in a second, but we want to talk about the NBA Finals and how. Listen, I called it. I'm gonna take some credit. Obviously, everybody picked OKC. Everybody said OKC in 6 or 7 games. I know I said it. I know Jason said it. I think Bruce said Indiana. I gotta hit up Bruce and see what he did. Maybe he'll pop in. OKC pulled it off in 7 games. It was a game that, when it started, had this weird Willis Reed 1970 Knick feel to it when Willis Reed came out the tunnel, his bad ankle, hit that first jump shot, lifted the Knicks to a title, and you felt the same way with Tyrese Halliburton and how that was going to go with his calf and him coming out and playing and hitting, getting 9 quick points on 3 3-pointers, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And then, of course, he got hurt towards Achilles. We'll talk about Halliburton in a second. And even with that, Indiana kept the game close. They kept the game within striking distance. When we got to the third quarter, they were actually up. And I was like, okay, Indiana might pull this out. Just based on pure emotion, they might pull this out. And then OKC went on their run, extended their lead out to double digits, and retained the lead to win the game. SGA, not his best shooting night by any means. Had a ton of assists, found the open man. Jalen Williams didn't have a great shooting night, but that combination of Alex Caruso and Chet Holmgren and so many different pieces. And I was having this argument this morning about depth. And I was being lambasted about my thoughts on the Oklahoma City Thunder and what I said a couple weeks ago about how, this might be the deepest team that I've seen in a long time. And I said 20 years and obviously hyperbole, whatever. But OKC is a deep team, right? As a Knicks fan, we talk about depth and how the Knicks have a lack of depth. They play 8-9 guys. Most teams only going to play 9, let's say, right, on a roster. You're not going to go past that 9th player. Some teams will only play 8. I've not seen a team in recent memory that can go 10 deep. I'm just saying 10. OKC can legitimately go 12, right? So that's when if you see SGA having a bad shooting night, if you see Williams having a bad shooting night, if you see Caruso not really doing his thing, Chet Holmgren not doing his thing, they have guys that can kind of plug in and have their roles that can kind of pick up the pieces and pick up what needs to be done, right? It's not going to be to the level of SGA. It's not going to be to the level of Jalen Williams. It's not going to be the level of Chet Holmgren in some cases, but they have their job and it kind of fits into what they're trying to do. So I think depth actually it works for Indiana too. In the Knicks series, you saw Indiana just putting guys in. The Knicks kind of figured out how to equal the depth, but I felt like it was a little bit too late. And Tom Thibodeau's kind of out of his comfort zone because he's not used to playing that many guys. So that's neither here nor there. But you look at both these teams, Indiana and OKC was very, very deep. Right? I think OKC was the deeper team. I think when Halliburton got hurt, that put a lot of pressure on TJ McConnell, who showed up last night. TJ McConnell had some big shots, especially in that fourth quarters. Indiana tried to keep the game close. So Indiana kept it moving and tried to push it. SGA not shooting well, they had a shot, but 20-plus turnovers was not going to get the job done for Indiana. Right? Pascal Siakam, we talk about how he's an X factor every game. Not his best game last night. Nebhart did not have a great game. Nesmith did not have a great game. So we talk so much about how it's Halliburton, it's Siakam, and they need someone else. They need a Benedict Mathurin to kick in. They need a TJ McConnell to kick in. They need a Nesmith, a Nebhart to kick in, and they really did not get that last night after Halliburton went down. As I welcome in Jason Corner from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's up, bro?
Nothing much, man. I felt bad for the Game 7 after Halliburton went out and then being upstaged before the game by Kevin Durant. But such has life in the NBA must go on.
Yeah, I'll sum up the game last night and how once Halliburton went down, Indiana kept it close and even had the lead in the third quarter, and OKC kind of turned up the gas. Do you think it was a fact of OKC was like, okay, let's stop messing around, let's end this? And, for a team like Indiana, without their star, without their leader, emotions only going to get you so far in a game like this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I feel like the emotions carried them in the first half because it happened so early in the game, unlike when KD popped his Achilles or when Jason Tatum popped his. But since it happened so early in the game, you figured they would try to weather the storm, which they did. But I think kind of like what I'm pretty sure Oklahoma's message at the halftime was like, hey, these guys, we got these guys. This is our championship now. We shouldn't have effed around in Game 6 in Indianapolis. So I figured they knew in the third quarter. I want to say 5 minutes into the third quarter, I thought the game was over at that point.
Yeah, I feel like Game 6, I feel like OKC almost kind of underestimated what Indiana was going to bring, what Halliburton had in the tank, because you kept hearing it's a calf injury, strained calf. You may not play. He's questionable. So I feel like they kind of came in like, all right, Halliburton's not going to be 100%. We can kind of be a little bit lax. But Halliburton played some inspired ball in Game 6. And going into Game 7, in those early minutes of Game 7, he was doing it again. And then that Achilles pop, which you saw, we know that pop. We see that pop. Like, I remember seeing it because you never really see it. I think Durant, I might have saw it. I don't remember seeing it. I think I started looking for that pop when I saw Aaron Rodgers get that pop when he popped his a couple years ago. So now when they show that replay, the first place I'm looking is, okay, I'm looking at that leg. And if I see that pop, then you know it was Achilles. So right away you knew it was Achilles. As soon as that leg pop, you're like, that's it.
Yeah, and again, he was playing so well in Game 6 and the beginning of Game 7, setting the tone for his team. It was an unfortunate circumstance, and that's the thing. Like, had this happen like week 52 of the regular season, he would have sat out maybe a round or two. But he tried to. It's one of those things. Do you think he knew the risk of he might injure it worse, considering what we saw? I would not even going back to Jason Tatum, but KD, literally the same situation in the finals. He knew the risk as well, and now it cost him a season which only opens up the East even more next year.
Yeah, because they have a great roster. Right? Indiana has a good roster, but I feel like without Halliburton, you're missing that piece.
Missing the leader.
Special
missing
piece,
the leader.
Right? Yep. You're not going to have that. He's going to be at the whole year. Let's just kind of put it out there. Let's just call it what it is. Tyrese Halliburton is missing the 2025-2026 NBA season. So Indiana has to depend on Andrew Nebhart, TJ McConnell to run that point. I'm going to assume that's a downgrade for Indiana. I'm just going to say put it out there. So they have to figure out, do they hit that heap and go, can Campaign come in here and do some work? Can insert point guard from wherever come in and fill that void? I think that's going to be a question for them because you need a point guard to run that team because Halliburton was the engine for that team, not just the scoring, but the directing and the passing and everything. And they're going to miss that heavy next year.
So you think they should go after Chris Paul?
I'm not against it for a 1 year rental. I almost feel like it doesn't not make sense.
Well, I have a better solution for you. If Boston's really over, they trying to dump salary, why not go get what's his name over there, their point guard?
Who? Dallas?
No, Boston.
Sorry, but Drew Holiday?
Might as well.
Is he a free agent or is he still on the contract?
Not think still on the contract, but I know Boston's trying to shed salary, so that might be. They might want to inquire about that.
I feel like it depends on what they want. I feel like depending on what the ask is, I think Drew Holiday would be a good, like you said, a rental. Because obviously it's Halliburton's team when he comes back. He'll be back in a year, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be against a Drew Holiday move, but I feel like it would have to make sense for OKC and what they give up. Because the roster as is not terrible, but you're missing that starting point guard. Because I'm sorry, T.J. McConnell's not a starting point guard in the NBA. Andrew Nembhard is not a starting point guard in the NBA. So I feel like it depends on what they want. Are they going to try to trade a Obi? Are they going to try to move a Mathurin? Are they going to want some picks? And obviously the picks are kind of useless for Indiana. Depends on what Boston would want.
Yeah, sure. They're probably going to want one of those point guards. Doesn't McConnell seems like a Boston fit, but he can't.
He really
they can't
does.
Move him. They can't
really
move him.
Does.
He's like the heart. I mean, that third quarter was very inspirational by him because he literally single-handedly kept the team in the game for a little bit.
McConnell is Danny Ainge from 1984. That's who T.J. McConnell is.
Yeah.
He gives a Danny Ainge's annoying, I hate you feel to it. What's up, Dad? How you doing? Arguing with me this morning, first thing, because I picked OKC.
Why?
Because okay, here is his words. I'm gonna put him on blast. I sounded like everyone else by picking OKC. I didn't pick a dark horse or underdog, and I'm like, if you look at the bracket when playoffs started, there really was an underdog worth picking. I feel like OKC was the best team in NBA during the league throughout the season. I felt like they would win a championship as soon as the playoffs started. Even with the tough series with Denver, even with this final series against Indiana, I'm like, OKC is gonna win this title. It was theirs from the start. He thinks I took the easy way out by picking OKC, even though you and I both picked OKC. Yeah. So he can yell at you now in chat. Yell at Jason too. Bruce, I gotta say what's up. Bruce is checking us out. I think he is in Haiti right now, actually. So Bruce is in Haiti. Thank you for watching us and hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
I thought Boston.
Next question
would have been the only. I thought Boston would have been the only competition for Oklahoma. Not even Cleveland. I've never bought into Cleveland, but I did thought Boston. The Knicks really messed up everybody's high expectation for a dual championship series between OKC and Boston. But hey.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Jason Tatum towards Achilles. Maybe the Achilles is the thing now. I'm just gonna put it out there. I think if guys have a calf injury, just sit out. Just don't play. Maybe not your best bet.
Or maybe we might need to reevaluate these low top sneakers.
Don't talk about the low tops of fire. I can't. I don't want to talk about the low tops. I like them a lot.
All right.
But the question now becomes, the Thunder's a young team. I think the D word has to be discussed. Can we have a dynasty in Oklahoma City?
Is it me? But this seems very similar to the beginning of the Warriors dynasty. And that one team that was constructed to beat the Warriors was the Houston Rockets. It seems like we're heading towards that same trajectory all over again. I think they should have been in the finals last year. So I would say I think the Thunder now have that championship pedigree. The only struggle will again be Jokic, depending what Denver can do in terms of retooling that roster. But I think dynasty is in play. I really do. I think this team is ahead of schedule and they're so young, youthful, and they have all their assets. Like they are the new blueprint on how to build a championship roster. So they could still add pieces. Like if they really felt like they were in jeopardy, kind of like how the Warriors did when they got KD, I think they can make a play for Giannis, who I don't think, considering what happened with the Pacers now, I don't think he would want to leave Milwaukee right now. But in a year, that might be a destination he can consider.
Yeah, I think you said it right. That they have the assets and they have the players, but they still have those draft picks, and they can maneuver a lot of different things. They can move a player in a draft pick and get another piece to add with SGA and Williams. Yep. They could leave the team intact and just get more draft picks and develop guys. Because you think about it, Sam Presti kind of did this from start, and I can't remember who said it. I might have been Mike Breen or it might have been Van Pelt. I can't remember who said it last night, but no owner in history would have been as patient has Clay Bennett was patient with Sam Presti and like this is the process that we're going to do. The Sixers had a process, and it bore out Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Presti had a process and said, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to build this way, build this way." Now the process comes to fruition. He's like, "We're not done though. We got more first-round draft picks. We got pick swaps. We have players that are desirable for other teams. Why can't we make some more moves and figure this out?" So I think the process is going to kind of continue. And even them being a small market, I know my father's talking about the money. He's going to break them up. No one's making money yet. There's really nobody on his team making any money right now.
I was just about to say that they're pretty much they're running the team like how in NFL, if you're not paying your quarterback, you can fill out the roster. So I think even if someone asks for their money, I don't think it's going to be none of the core guys in terms of SGA or Williams. It's probably going to be somebody else, and they could move a Caruso or Hartenstein and get somebody younger coming in. They're stacked up for the next half a decade to be in contender, so they'll be fine.
I want to bring up the draft picks and see what they have left because I think this is going to be the important part of this whole situation. Not just with kind of trading their current assets, the players, but they have 2 first rounds this year. They have 3 next year.
Damn.
2 in 2027, 2 in 2029, and a shit ton of second-round picks, which we'll talk about in a second, because second-round picks have all of a sudden become like damn currency and like come out the euro. I really do think Presti's looking at this team like, what could we do to win again? And it may not be with this team. It may not be. You have your 2. Well, you have your 3 if you include Holmgren. You have your 3. What can we do to add to those 3? Because you know what Holmgren's going to give you. Holmgren's going to give you like 15 and 7.
Right.
Movie. But you have SGA. You got Jalen. What can we add to it? And I think that's going to be the key to kind of see how he kind of manages this. But I don't think they're done. I don't think they're like, this is the team we're going to run with for the next 5 years. I think Presti's like, we could move Caruso and get a better piece if we package Caruso with one of those first-round picks we got that are protected, but is a first-round pick nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, I think the West are in trouble because no one is situated. Just look how they're situated from their championship window compared to Denver, where Denver had to do pretty much like a not a fire sale, but they had to get rid of good parts that were very instrumental in that championship. Like we talk about Bruce Brown. Like if they could have kept Bruce Brown, that might have been a better option than, let's say, I forgot who they had last year that just fizzled out outside of Porter
You're being very nice. It was a damn fire. It was a damn fire sale. They said we got our chip. Everybody get the hell out. It was a fire sale. You being very diplomatic right now. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. If you look at their payroll though, you know, SGA's 35 this year, 38 next year, 40 the year after. Hartenstein's 30, 28, 28. Lou Dort, 17 this year, 18 and 18 the next 2 years. Isaiah Joe's 12, 12, 11, 11. Aaron Wiggins, his salary actually goes down. It seems like a lot of these contracts are front-loaded. So Hartenstein's, Wiggins, and Isaiah Joe's is front-loaded. Front-loaded. Caruso has an extension that kicks in next year where you can make up to $22 million in 4 years. But next year's payroll right now, they're at 173. I could see them going like, well, we could move Caruso's 18.1, Hartenstein's 28.5, get someone that can do exactly what Hartenstein does at half the price. Maybe Isaiah, like this move that can be made here. I'm curious to see what Sam Presti does here.
Yeah, but like you said, he's probably going to look. He's probably be more patient as always. He's going to look what's going on in the landscape. You know, I hope someone gets in his ear and be like, "Hey, Houston's coming for you." He's probably going to laugh at that. He's probably only going to see Jokic as a threat. I don't think he sees the Lakers as a threat. I don't know what Minnesota's doing. It's a lot of moving parts. A lot of. This could be a good window. We might be looking at a 3-peat. We haven't seen a 3-peat in a while, but if I had to pick out of the last 7 championship teams, this team is more equipped to repeat for sure.
And listen, the league is a copycat league. If teams are seeing, hey, we need 10 guys, we need 11 guys that can play in the rotation and that are going to be ready to go, I think other teams are going to realize, okay, depth means something because Presti.
I think the Knicks were the blueprint for that. They saw, hey, we got a good starting five, but they have nothing off the bench. And that's not going to win you. That's not going to win you. That's going to win you regular season games. It's not going to win you playoff rounds. So I think the blueprint out now in terms of like that, thanks to the Pacers and Oklahoma Thunder.
So NBA season's completely over. But before the season ended last night,
Is it over?
No, it ain't because we got a trade yesterday and he texted me. He's like, I feel bad that OKC and Indiana got overshadowed today. I'm like, they really did. Kevin Durant, while at Fanatics Fest here in New York, or there in New York, where Jason is, I'm in Jersey, found out who's traded the Houston Rockets. Rockets, they get KD. Suns get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Houston's number 10 pick in Wednesday's night NBA draft, and 5 future second-round draft picks, which I don't know what the use of second-round draft picks are. There have been examples like Draymond Green, second-round draft pick, whatever. How does this fit? 'Cause I think this actually fits Houston very well, and it really gives them someone that gives them what they were missing last year.
It fits them well. It gives them exactly what they need, a solidified shooter, scorer. They didn't give up a lot either. Like, I knew the offers weren't out there, but this to me was like, they didn't really give up a lot. And I don't know what – I feel like the Suns got hosed here. I don't know what their plan is. Maybe they're going to try to come off Dylan Brooks. But for Houston, they kept their youth, they kept their core, and now they got a closer. With a great head coach, they will figure it out, and they will still be a threat in the West.
So we got 2 opinions. Bruce.
It got worse, really.
And
I mean,
John, what's going on? What's up, John? Win now trade for Houston.
Definitely win now trade for Houston.
I think Houston realizes what they have and goes, you know what? We add Durant to Amen Thompson, to Sengun, to Van Vliet. We can get that 2 seed again and actually make some noise in the playoffs and not get knocked out in the first round.
Oh, 100%. Like, this would have definitely got them over the hump against Golden State, but we'll see. I do like the trade for Houston. It is a win now. I'm just waiting to see what the Thunder and other teams in the West count. It seems like it's a severe arm race in the West. Like, everyone is loading up. So we got to see what Minnesota's going to do. We got to see what Denver's going to do. Lakers, Clippers. So I'm not going to give the Rockets a 2 seed just yet again.
Yeah, I know. Bruce mentioned in the chat how Dylan Brooks was a key to their defense. Houston, they do get worse defensively because KD's kind of like Kyrie with defense. KD plays defense when he wants to play defense.
Yeah,
like KD could lock you down, but more than likely he's not.
He's not.
He might have that day. He might have that night where he's like, I'm going to lock this dude down. But so I think defensively, especially for the Ime Udoka team, they get worse. But I think offensively, they were towards the bottom in ISO points. They were towards the bottom in jump shots. The things that KD does well still are the things that Houston did terribly last year. So I think that's going to help them. But defensively, I think they're shot. I think this is going to be a lot of 134, 129 games at the Toyota Center, and fans be very excited, but no one playing any defense except Sengun, maybe.
Yep.
Actually, I just got this. Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals. Most watched NBA Finals game in 6 years, averaging 16.4 million viewers on ABC. The game peaked with 19.3 million viewers at 9:45 Eastern Time. So, Game 7 does it for everybody, I guess. It takes a Game 7 to get people to watch.
It was a good series. Like, anytime a 50-win team could take a 68-win team that was on a historic pace to 7 games, it was pretty appealing. And like you said, it was competitive up until that third quarter.
I will say I'm looking forward to seeing Inside the NBA because if I see Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins on another goddamn pregame show, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Oh, I didn't watch any of the pregame stuff this series. I was at NBA TV.
I didn't watch it, but I didn't watch it. But when you go on awful announcing and they're just shitting on it every day and they're showing clips and like, I gotta watch the clip. And you just see Stephen A screaming for no reason. Perk just yelling. Bob Myers is like, why is everyone yelling? And then it's just like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here right now? And like ESPN just stopped trying to put together a legitimate post game, pre and post game, except Van Pelt. Van Pelt does really good at post game.
I wonder what's going to happen next year because I believe I heard they're not even getting the All-Star game. I heard NBC's getting the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And I know they announced Maria's going to, of course, I figured she would probably be the head analyst over there. But what are they going to do in terms of like inside the NBA? Are they going to be post and pre? Are they going to be their own little thing afterward, like kind of like the Pat McAfee show that happens here after Stephen A. Smith, which Stephen A. never gives a rub to, but that's a whole nother story.
You notice that too? Okay. Like the two will never meet. It's just like they never really talk about each other, and I'm like, okay, just some alpha dog shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very interesting. But congratulations to the NBA. They got their ratings for Game 7, and hopefully Steve A. Smith stays off the TV. We got a preview NBA draft, and I want to talk about, first of all, 2 shows this week for us. We are going to be back on Wednesday for our annual Box Out 2025 NBA Draft Extravaganza, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Usually it's Thursday, but NBA is going to go 2 days because, who wants to watch round 2 on Thursday? So we'll be back on Wednesday, 8 p.m. live for the draft. And Cooper Flag's number 1. I think it's established. You know he's going to Dallas. Dylan Harper's going to be 2. After Dylan Harper, it gets weird because I want to talk about Ace Bailey. Because Ace Bailey, Rutgers, he has not worked out with one team. Not a goddamn one. And his people said they like where he is, where he's sitting, where he's good at. And essentially, he's hoping to go to a team, and they didn't say this, but I think you can assume it, that is really bad and that he can get a lot of shots, which means the Washington Wizards is in play. How bad is Ace messing this up for himself right now?
I don't know why he don't want to go to Philly. Oh, it just dawned on me why he don't want to go to Philly. He probably won't see no play time over there. But he is royally fucking this up. But I don't think he's gonna slide. I would like to see him slide to Brooklyn at 8, but I don't think he's gonna be on the board around then. I think he's probably Philly cannot draft him after he's blade out disrespected them. So I think he might fall to 5. Or wait, where does Utah pick? Because Danny Ainge, this seems like Danny Ainge written all over it.
Utah's 5th.
I see him sliding to Danny Ainge. I think Danny Ainge put something in his ear, and he's going to pull a fast one and go to Utah. That's what my gut feeling is right now.
So right now, I think this might be the last mock draft ESPN puts out. This is the latest from Wu and Giovanni on ESPN. Obviously, Dallas gets Cooper Flag. Number 2, Dylan Harper goes to San Antonio. Perfect spot for him. Philly gets VJ Edgecombe from Baylor, shooting guard, which I like him. I like to put him a little bit more weight on, and his shooting is kind of up and down. So I would like him to improve that shooting. Has a 2. 4 is Knuppel from Duke for Charlotte. So he's gonna just disappear from Earth because Charlotte's like damn purgatory.
Yeah.
Utah, they have Utah picking Jeremy Fears out of Oklahoma, point guard. 6, Ace Bailey Rutgers to the Wizards. So it seems like they're saying he's almost angling to drop down to 6,
which kind of works in his favor because Jordan Poole's going to give up that ball to him.
But imagine a world where he drops to New Orleans at 7, and he's trying to go to a team where he gets his shots, get his minutes, get his shine, and he goes down there with Zion and gets no shine whatsoever.
Utah or Washington, he'll be gone by then.
Locally, Brooklyn, they got Brooklyn picking Maluk from Duke, the center. I didn't see him do a lot this year.
I seen him, but I didn't see him do a lot.
Yeah, I saw Duke at the Elite 8, Sweet 16 Elite 8. his name near rekindle conversation. On the floor, you kind of forgot he was there. He had a couple putbacks, a couple big rebounds, but there wasn't anything that said, "Oh, this guy's a lottery pick," which is like a scary concept that Brooklyn was going to use their pick at number 8 to get a 7-foot guy, get size. That seems not to be developed. That seems like a project for a team that I would assume are trying to compete for, a play-in spot in a couple of years. But Luke seems like he's like 3-4 years away from being anything, let alone, a starter, an all-star, just a serviceable player he's years from being.
The Nets are going to be – I think the Nets are going to have the most intriguing offseason this summer because they have the cap space. Are they going to run it back to what they did before KD and them, take on bad contracts, be that team, be competitive? Like the Nets have so many options they can move into. And they got 3 or 4 first-round picks coming up on Wednesday.
They have I want to say 2. I want to go down real quick. They're at 8 and they are at 19.
Plus the Knicks pick in 20-something.
Yes, I forgot the next pick. That's 26. So 8, 19, 26. 26, this mock has them picking a French point guard, so it's a draft and stash. And 19, they have them picking Asa Newell from Georgia, who's like a 4 or 5 mixed type of guy. Besides Flag, besides Dylan Harper, you're getting 2 guys that can actually help a franchise right away.
Right.
I think Bailey, based on me watching him play live a couple times this year, I saw a player who could score but can't really get his own shot and relies on a good point guard to kind of get a shot. Edgecombe, I think going to Philly is probably the best place for him because he's kind of going to be out of sight because you have Tyrese Maxey, you got Joel Embiid, you still got Paul George. He'll kind of be left in the background. I think after those players, I feel like Ace Bailey doesn't do anything for me. Edgecombe's like go to Philly, hide out, and then it just drops off. I think Knuppel might be that one guy who could kind of like because Knuppel really picked up the pace whenever Cooper Flag had really bad games. Knuppel came through and said, "Okay, I'll take over. I got this."
Do you think 76ers might be entangled to trade that pick, let's say to Utah, and get I won't say no. What's his name over there?
For who?
Not Claxton, or
for Brooklyn?
No, from Philadelphia. The I forgot his name. That used to play for. He used to play for the Lakers. Forgot his name.
You see, you got now. I'm like, wait. I'm trying to think. If you remember that, then you gotta say it because it's gonna bother me all damn night.
Man.
There's reports that Brooklyn might be trying to move up, and Brooklyn has the assets obviously to try to slide in, maybe get an Edgecombe, maybe trade up and get an Ace Bailey, which God bless Brooklyn to try to get Ace Bailey because that just seems like a bad play with him. Cam Thomas, you still got Cam Johnson. Is a lot of touching right now. You don't got a lot of ball to be touching like that. So I don't. I'm curious to see what happens on Wednesday because I feel like a lot of these teams in that 5, 6, 7, 8 spot is going to try to slide up and try to maybe get Edgecombe. I think Dylan Harper's locked in at 2. Flag obviously locked in at 1, and I think after 2, I think that's when you're seeing dominoes start to fall.
It's going to be an exciting night to say the least. Just Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan Clarkson. All right, there you go. I'm like, whoa. No,
I can see him on Philly.
I
can see him on Philly. If Philly's in a win now mode, considering how the East is part like the Red Sea for them, it's something they should think about instead of somebody who you're going to sit on the bench.
So you could legitimately see a final 5-minute lineup of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Jordan Clarkson, insert Paul Reed or whatever the hell you want to insert there. Could you honestly see those 4 playing on the floor at the same exact time?
I can see that. And don't forget, they still have a somewhat bench. They still got Grimes, who's looking like a darling right now.
Yeah.
They still have old boy who got hurt, who could have been rookie of the year last year.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sold that they're keeping that pick. I'm not sold. I'm not sold on that.
You see that it's intriguing. It's just a lot of shots that you kind of have to like.
Well, that's why Embiid's gonna have to.
I'm not sure who's gonna give those shots.
Embiid's gonna have to let these guys know it's still his team if he comes in healthy, of course.
Is it still his team? Because I think it's slowly moving towards Maxey.
Maxey? Well, Maxey got to get on his Kobe then and be like, Embiid. He's got to get in his Kobe bag and be like, hey, Embiid, man, I need you in shape, especially for March, April, May, and June.
This from Shams from a couple hours ago. Daniel Gafford intends to sign a 3-year contract extension with Dallas. So now Dallas, you're going to have Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Lively, and Gafford. That's your front court. And that's a pretty damn good front court if you're Dallas.
Well, I can't wait.
A little bit of work.
Can't wait to see those. Can't wait to see those games against the OKC and Houston, or the Spurs. Damn, that Texas 3 trip is going to be rough for everybody.
Yeah, that Texas triangle is going to suck for the Knicks. I feel it already.
Not just the Knicks, the whole East, the entire East.
That's going to be.
Shit.
That's going to be I'm not watching those games that when they're on the schedule. I'm just gonna ignore that for a couple days and say it didn't happen. John asked a very good question in chat. Who wants to go to Brooklyn? I don't think anybody wants to go to Brooklyn right now.
I don't. For someone who sees more people at Liberty games than Nets game, that's all I got to say about that.
Listen,
but I don't know.
Liberty games, you cover the Liberty. It seemed like Barclays is popping for the Liberty, and it's like it's a church for a net game. Just barely any noise. A lot of Brooklyns, which I'm assuming they're playing over the loudspeaker. No one's saying Brooklyn. It sounds like it's coming from the loudspeaker, not from the actual crowd itself. So
100%.
It's sad, but I'm excited to see that the Nets are just this bad again. And I love Jordy. I know Jordy took this job as it's his first head coaching job, but Jordy Fernandez is going to get fired. No fault of his own, but because his team is not going to be good anytime soon, and he's just going to be head coach of a team that's constantly rebuilding every single year.
Shit, speaking of head coach, who is going to coach the Knicks?
I wasn't going to talk about that tonight. I keep hearing about Taylor Jenkins. I think Mike Brown is still in the conversation. I think they're almost hoping that one of the teams that said no kind of reneges and says, all right, you can talk to him. I think they're hoping that happens. But I think it's Jenkins and Mike Brown at this point. Those are the two guys.
If Dallas didn't get the first pick, I think Kid would have been out. I think that whole Luka trade left a bad taste in his mouth, but like the NBA always NBAing, they gave him the first pick to make up for it. So,
yeah, I don't want to talk about the conspiracy, but I'm still on that conspiracy tip with the Cooper Flagg draft lottery. I really do think like some Patrick Ewing, 1985, David Stern shit happened to get Dallas that pick. I'm standing on that one.
I mean, white American male in the great state of Dallas, great state of Texas, and near Dallas. Right? I mean, it makes sense.
What movie? Oh my God, what movie about? Blue Chips. Ricky Rose, elite white athlete like myself. That's Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is Ricky Rowe from Blue Chips. He's that elite white athlete that we talk about in Blue Chips. That's Ricky. So WNBA roundup. I want to talk about WNBA. The Liberty.
A couple of hiccups.
3 hiccups to be exact since our last show. Is this? I know in the chat. I know my dad mentioned how losing the game is not a bad thing. Is this ultimately a good thing that they get these losses out the way, get their asses kicked, and just like, we're not as good as maybe we thought we were. Let's pick this shit back up again.
It's not even that, but like now it gives all those people who said, hey, that you had an easy schedule, it gives them more ammo. So I think it's good to hit this stretch. 2 of the losses were on the road. to good teams in Seattle and Indiana. I thought they should have won that game against the Mercury at home, but they didn't. But it's good to get these losses out the way so they can refocus. They definitely miss Jones. We'll see what happens with her ankle. So they'll be fine in the long run. But I like them getting these losses and not running away with the best record.
Yeah, and they've lost last night. Sabrina Ionescu didn't play, so they were down one of their big stars. So obviously they took him as well.
Right.
In the chat, listen, the Lynx 12-1. We were talking because the Lynx lost their first game before the Liberty lost their first game. So I think we started talking like, oh, maybe the Liberty is better than Lynx, and we got shut down quick. I think the WNBA gods like cut that shit out. Let's not do that. But Bruce also said this in the chat. I think it's a good conversation to have. I think he's right with this point. I think Nafisa Kahlil is the best player in the league.
I think by how much though? Is she that much more better than? Is she better than? I mean, Asia kind of she's steadying the pace for the season. Considering
I think Asia's a product of the Aces struggling since they let Kelsey Plum go.
I like that.
I think that's the problem. I think and nobody wanted to talk about it, and everyone thought the Aces would kind of be fine. But I think not having Kelsey Plum, there's something off with that team.
Yep.
That Asia Wilson's playing well, but she's not playing Asia Wilson ball, and I think something's not right with that team. So I think you could make the argument it's Nafisa Kahlil 1, Asia Wilson 2. I think you can kind of have the conversation about Sabrina Ionescu, Ogumawale. I think honestly, if you have the perfect example, if you had to start a team, who would you pick? Nafisa Kahlil or Asia Wilson to start the team? You have to pick between the two of them. I think that's the conversation we got to have.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Asia because I know what passive form. I know she's gonna bring it every night. She's a dog. Not to saying it's not a dog, but I'm gonna slightly go with Asia.
Okay. Follow up. Asia Wilson, or I'm gonna put it out there, Alicia Gray from Atlanta.
Still gonna
because
take Asia.
Okay. So because I was like, maybe Alicia. Yeah. I feel like you need a guard. I feel like for you start a team, you need a guard. I feel like Collier's that leader, that guard that you need on the floor that's going to give you 30 minutes a game, that's going to run things. I think the only difference between Asia and Nafisa Kahlil is I want a guard on my team. I'm going to start. So I think that's about my vote for Kahlil, only because of the guard situation, having that guard. I do want to talk about Caitlin Clark. Another incident, her and Sophie Cunningham. I want to word this question correctly. Is the media blowing this up, or is this an actual thing? Because I really do feel like they're just playing ball, and the media is creating this narrative that everybody hates Caitlin Clark because it's Caitlin Clark. I don't think that's the case. I think the media is really stirring this up. Am I wrong, or is there something more to this?
I think two things can be true. I think the media definitely stirring this up, but I think a lot of them chicks do not like this girl because she is cocky and she's delivering the goods. I mean, we all know sports is a competitive game, and sometimes trash talking is part of it. I think she's such a front runner, and when she's up, she talks so much shit. You just want to pop her in the mouth, give her a little elbow, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do think the media is blowing away out of proportion.
Yeah, because I think the funny part was Sophie Cunningham's a white girl.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it wasn't Angel Reese, it wasn't Asia Wilson, it wasn't like it wasn't Jonquil Jones. It was a white girl hitting a white girl, and it's still like, oh my god! I'm like, okay, now I know. So it's not a race thing now. It's this hatred around the league that everybody hates Caitlin. I think to the point they probably don't like her. Because like you said, she probably pops hella shit.
She does.
But they're also playing ball. And I'm like, I
Right.
don't care who you are. You pop shit, you can get knocked in the mouth when you get a chance to, and hopefully not get caught doing it.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Exactly.
everybody's getting caught doing it. So I think the media is really making a big deal about this. I do actually question. I think right now, Rookie of the Year, I thought Paige Beckers would have a runaway. Sonia Citron from the Mystics, I think might give her some play. I think the Mystics was supposed to be really, really bad, and they're not as bad as we thought they would be. But I think Sonia Citron from Notre Dame come in, and I think she's kind of pushed that team to another level. Even after Lynn Deladon retired, like, oh, this team's going to suck for a while because they lost their leader, they lost their leading scorer. Citron's kind of holding it together. So I think you might have an argument, Paige Beckers versus Sonia Citron for Rookie of the Year, and not just with points. I think the points is always going to go to Paige, but I think Citron's bringing something different to Washington that was missing.
I couldn't agree more. The only thing is they still got time, so Paige could still, hold it down and get that Rookie of the Year. But again, no one thought Washington was going to be this bad. I mean, everybody thought Washington would have been the Suns, but it is not the case.
Yeah, no, 6-8. It's not bad considering that they're essentially starting over. They essentially said when Deladon retired, like, we got to kind of start from scratch, new coach, new GM, start all over again. I will say this: Golden State Valkyries 7-6. I believe in the Golden State Valkyries. Put it out there. I might buy me a T-shirt.
Number one attendance team in the league. Go figure.
Listen, two wins in a row, 5-5 in the last 10. I'm a believer. Let's go Valkyries.
What does that say? What does that say about the WNBA? Where we all saw that Caitlin attendance was great throughout the league for Caitlin and for Asia, but now you have a whole expansion team in Golden State. That whole market, that whole region, is buying in and selling out Chase Center.
Well, what's it say about Kayla Thornton, who the Liberty left unprotected in the expansion draft, picked her up 15 points a game, and she's leading that team. That is Kayla Thornton, and that's it. That's really it. That's all you got in that team, and it's just this weird. It's just this really weird, just mix of players. And Bruce, they're not going to win the championship. We know that. We're not going to win anything. But the fact that the 7-6 to 13 games, it's impressive. Like, we can't just kind of shit on them completely and go, he's 7-6. It's 7-6 when I was thinking, like, through 13 games,
1-12,
2-11, 3-10. Like, we give them some
that's how it usually goes in expansion drafts.
Yeah, so I'm kind of pissed New York let her go. I'm like, damn, you guys kind of messed that up. Should have left Salute unprotected. Just saying.
Oh, damn.
Put that out there. Before we leave, I want to talk about wrestling real quick. How did you feel about the John Cena promo? Because I didn't see it live. I saw it after. And I don't think it was as good as everyone thought it was.
It was okay. It was good. For a heel persona, it was pretty good. In terms of John Cena level,
it was good.
John Cena level quality, I've seen him roast people better. But in terms of him being a heel, be like, hey, Punk, you're kind of a hypocrite. You are a millionaire. He was making some very valid points. I thought the ending of SmackDown was going to be whack, but then the pipe bomb came. I was like, oh shit, this is actually okay.
The best part of the promos when USA. Go ahead.
I'll say better question. Do they still have this show this weekend, considering everything's going on?
Listen, if I was one of those guys, I'm not going to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. You could fire me, you could suspend me. I'm not getting on the goddamn plane. I'm good. I'm going to hell home. I want no part of the Middle East right now. I'm not leaving my house. I'm good. They should not have that show. You tell me you can't come up with a contingency plan. You can't say, hey, we got to find an arena right now to switch this show to. You just got to make it happen. You cannot put everybody, not just wrestlers, but the crew, the announcers, cameramen. You cannot put them in danger in the middle of a damn war zone. I'm sorry. Saudi Arabia's here. Iran is right here. Like, you can't do that to them. I feel like if they have this show, it's disrespectful to their employees who have to go to that show. This should not happen at all.
So you're saying for one night and one night only, We bring back the Thunderdome era.
I'm fine with that. You can put that together in what 5 days. You can do that, but I'm at the point where you can't do that. You can't make this. You can't make this happen. It would be more responsible for them not to have the show and push it back a week and have it someplace else or in the Thunderdome instead of just having them all fly over there in the middle of a ceasefire, which I'm still not sold as a ceasefire happening as of 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So
We'll
I'm just putting that out there. I will say, because Bruce mentioned in the chat, rest in peace, AEW. AEW had a show in Mexico last Wednesday. That was the first AEW show, and there's been a lot of good shows, but for all 2 hours, I was in. I think it was because I think they show respect to CMLL. Mm-hmm. Hangman did a whole promo in Spanish, which I'm like, he knows Spanish? And like legit Spanish, like the whole 2 or 3 minute promo was in Spanish, complete Spanish. Okay. And I'm like, oh shit, that's impressive. It just had a feel to it. And I think they have all in Texas. I think in a couple of weeks, I'm ordering that pay-per-view. I think it's starting to kind of percolate a little bit. And listen, people starting to shit on Triple H's booking a little bit. I think people it's getting old now. So I think you're kind of seeing that. You're starting to see that pendulum swing back a little bit now. Like, all right, Triple H, you blew your load. Okay, we're going to check them out again.
I think this is where you kind of miss Vince a little bit for WWE.
Miss Vince?
A little bit. Just a little bit. I'm not feeling.
What's today's date? June 23rd. We're missing Vince already.
I'm not feeling the Seth Rollins, whatever they got going on. The Cena's farewell tour. I mean, at what point is he going to turn good again? And he's going to have to be, deal with his emotions. It feels very Star Wars to me. Like he's going to turn good and he's going to be very conflicted towards the end of his farewell tour.
Question: does Seth Rollins' group have a name?
No. Another problem I have.
So it's been what, a month and a half, 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have a name.
They don't have a name, and the word is they're trying to add one more member, and it's either between Ethan Payne or what's his name, Ricky Starks.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right, so I'm back on the AEW train. I gave it. Plus, it's hard for me to. It's hard for me not texting you the other day. It's hard for me to watch WWE programming, knowing that Linda McMahon's going to screw up education. Triple H and Steph are hanging out with RFK Jr. And I'm pretty sure Pat McAfee reads Outkick, and I'm like, yep, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm not sure how I feel about donating to this company that are just full of right-wing zealots. I'm like,
and don't forget, and Trump never misses a UFC fight.
Well, listen, UFC 5 is free on PlayStation Plus.
Really?
I refuse to buy that damn game now. Like,
really?
My politics is starting to influence my video games. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's really starting to kind of fuck up my flow a little bit.
Well, with that being said, you got what, three weeks until NCAA 2026?
Yep, I pre-ordered it on Sunday, so I'm ready to go. Madden, still a little sketchy on. I'm still trying to figure out if Madden's going to be
I'm gonna give Madden one more try.
Well, it's funny because it looks good. Like, it seems like they did a lot of stuff to it. Franchise, yep. I'm gonna wait because franchise. They always say we did a lot with franchise, and they never do.
Right.
But I think this is their next to last year of exclusivity with the NFL.
Uh-oh.
So I think they're trying to like blow it out to show the NFL like, let us keep the contract. Don't let 2K get it, because 2K is like, we still got that engine from before.
We're ready to get back in the game. 2K's ready to get back in the game.
And I'm sorry that last 2K football game, Madden couldn't touch it. So I think they're just like, give us another 10 years, and we'll show it. We'll show it. So we'll see what happens. Jason, it's always a great show, bro.
Likewise.
All right. So on Wednesday, we have 2 shows this week. We're back for our Box Out 2025 NBA Draft Extravaganza, Wednesday, 8 p.m. We're live watching the draft live with you, talking about the picks. There's going to be trades. I know there's going to be trades. So we're just going to be back there for that. So 8 p.m. this Wednesday, we'll be back. Our annual draft show. It usually goes 90 minutes, unlike last year. We just kind of, I think last year we kind of just quit because it got real boring.
It got real bad. It got real bad. Yeah.
So I was like, whatever. So this Wednesday, 8 p.m., check us out. For Jason, I'm Kahlil. Thanks so much for watching. We will see y'all on Wednesday for the draft. Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Kortner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.